Automatic. Addison.
In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to write loops in Python. Loops are a key tool for iterating over sequences and automating repetitive tasks. So let's begin by opening up a terminal window and moving to the Documents Python tutorial folder. Let's open Visual Studio Code. All right, let's close out all of these old tabs. Okay, and let's begin by creating a new file called writingforloops.py. I'm going to go over here to the the left, click New File, and let's type writing for loops.py. Okay, and let's start by demonstrating a simple for loop with a list of colors. So I'm going to go comment simple for loop with a list. And let's go colors, create our list, and let's do red, green, blue, and yellow. And on the next line, we'll go for color and colors. And let's go print color, comma, color. Okay, save that and let's run it. Click the play button in the upper right. And you can see here our list. So color red, green, blue, and yellow. So this loop prints each color in our list. And you can see how the for loop processes each element one by one. Excuse me. Okay, now let's continue here. And next, we're going to use a for loop with the range function, which generates a sequence of numbers. So let's do that here. Going to go for loop with range, for I in range 4 generates numbers from 0 to 3. We'll print number. Let's put a colon in there and then I. Okay. So we want to now run this. Let's press the play button. Okay, and you can see here our new output. We have 0, 1, 2, and 3. So that I index, every time we do an iteration of the for loop, that I index increments up by 1. So for the first iteration, it starts out as 0 by default. And so we go print number 0 right there. Then for the next iteration, we go 1, and then we do number 1, and then 2, and then 3. So you can see we do that 4 times, range of 4 times. But we start out with the index 0. So we go 0, then 1, then 2, and then 3. And then after the 4th time, that's the stopping condition criteria here in the for loop. We are done. So for loops can also iterate over strings, treating each character as an item. Let's do that now. Iterating over a string for char in, and let's set our string. Let's call it robotics. Robotics. Go print character and then char, C-H-A-R, which is that. Okay, let's save. And what we want to see here is we want to print out each character in this robotic string. So R, then O, then B, then O, then T, then I, then C, then S. And then once we reach the end of that string, we're going to hop out of the for loop. So let's press play. And you can see we did that right here. So the first iteration, car, is the first character here in this string, which is R. And so we print character R. Then we move to the next one, O. Then we move to B, then the O, then the T. And we do that all the way to the end of the string. And it's cool because Python will automatically detect how long the string is, and then we print each character in there. So for character in robotics, print the character there. Now let's clear. Next, let's loop through a dictionary of robot parts. So I'm going to go down here. Let's go to looping through a dictionary. And we are going to say robot parts. This is our variable, and let's create our dictionary here with the curly braces. And I'm going to put my first entry here, call it wheels. And let's say our robot has 4 wheels. Then let's do motors. For the next entry, motors. And let's, how many motors do we want? Let's do 2. Okay, and then how many sensors? Let's say we've got 5 sensors. Maybe we've got a LiDAR, an ultrasonic sensor, a depth camera. And let's go do our for loop now. So for part quantity in robot underscore parts dot items. Let's print part, comma, part, and then quantity, colon, quantity, close. Okay, so for part and quantity in robot parts dot items, and let's see the output here. So you can see that here we're iterating through both pieces, both the key and the value here in the dictionary, and we're printing out the values. So for the first key part is wheels. The second one is going to be motors, and the second one sensors. So we have wheels, motors, sensors. Those are the parts. And then the value portion of the dictionary, of the items in the dictionary, right here, is quantity. So we're going to go 4, then 2, and then 5. 4, then 2, then 5. And that corresponds exactly to what we see in our dictionary. And here you can see the output down here. So let's clear that out. So that's pretty cool. This dot items enables you to print out both the keys and the values of the dictionary. Very cool trick right there. Lastly, let's explore nested for loops, which are useful for processing multi-dimensional data. I'm going to go down here and let's say nested for loops. We're going to go for outer in range 3, for inner in range 3. And let's do print position colon, and we're going to do outer and then enter. Okay. And so you're going to go for outer in range 3, for inner in range 3. So this is a nested for loop. So each iteration of the outer, we're going to run this inner loop 3 times. Okay. So let's see what happens here. Here's our output. So you can see outer index will always start at 0. Okay. And we're going to run it 3 times, the outer. But so we start here. So 0 is going to be the value for outer on this first iteration of the outer. All right. And then given that this is 0, we then need to run this 3 times. So that's how we get the 0, the 1, and the 2 for the inner right there. And then we increment. When we go back to the top of this for loop, it's going to be 1 now. Outer is going to be 1. And then we need to run this inner loop again. 3 times. 0, then 1, then 2. 0, then 1, then 2. And then finally, we go to the last one, which is 2 for outer. And then inner, we're going to go 0, then 1, and then 2 for each iteration here. And you can see the results printed out here. That's a nested for loop. So you can see we have a grid of positions from 0, 0 all the way to 2, 2. Pretty cool stuff, right? Excellent. So you can see how for loops can effectively handle various data structures. Next, let's explore how to effectively use while loops in Python. These loops are essential for executing code repeatedly based on a condition. Let's go over here to the left and let's create a new file called writing while loops.py. Enter. And let's start by creating a basic while loop that prints the numbers from 0 to 4. Basic while loop. Count equals 0. We're going to initialize the count variable at 0, and then we're going to say while the count variable is less than 5, let's print the value count, comma, count. And then each time we iterate through the while loop, we're going to increment the value by 1. And we use this plus equals to increment by 1. This is the same thing that count plus equals 1 is the same thing as count equals count plus 1. Exact same thing. They're synonymous. Okay, and let's press play. There we go. Count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Once we get to 5, we break out of the while loop. So this loop increments count each time, stopping when it reaches 5. Going to remove that now. Next, let's look at a while loop to handle user input. So we want to handle user input, and then when we want to print that user input to the screen, and then we want a stopping condition. And let's set our stopping condition such that we want to quit when the user types the word quit, Q-U-I-T, in the terminal. Let's do that now. While loop with user input. User input equals empty string. And we're going to say while user input, let's make the user input automatically lowercase by doing the dot lower right there, is not equal to quit. We want to print the terminal to the terminal what the user inputted. So let's do double quote here, enter quit to exit, colon, space there. And let's do print you entered, and then we're going to type user input, print that to the screen. Let's save and let's press play. Okay, let's say automatic Addison. Let's print it to the screen. I'll type the number 1. Let's type hello world. And you can see down below here, we keep printing to the screen whatever we put in. We'll just do that forever and ever and ever. And it'll just keep going on and on and on until you type quit, Q-U-I-T, and then enter, and that exits. So that demonstrates a while loop that runs based on user interaction. Now let's clear. Finally, let's use the break statement, break, B-R-E-A-K statement, to exit a loop prematurely. So I'm going to say using break statement in a while loop. Count equals 0, while true, while the conditions inside are true. I'm going to say if count equals 5, break, get out of this while loop once the value of count reaches 5. Otherwise, we're going to go down here, print looping, and then we're going to say if count equals 5, break, get out of this while loop once the value of count reaches 5. Otherwise, we're going to go down here, print looping, and then we're going to say if count equals 5, break, get out of this while loop once the value of count reaches 5. Otherwise, we're going to go down here, print looping, and then comma count. And count plus equal 1. Print. Okay, let's take a look at the loop. Scroll up here. Come on, scroll, baby, scroll. Okay, so initializing count at 0. Let's use the keyboard. Initializing count at 0, and then we're saying while this while loop is true, okay, we're going to keep printing the value of count all the way until it reaches 5. And once we reach 5, we're going to break out of the while loop, and control will shift down to this line 9, this print of the empty string. So now let's play. And you can see right here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, incrementing every time. And then once we reach 5, we break. And then we're printing that empty blank line right here, which is that line 9, right after looping 4. So that's it. You can see how each while loop works. You can see how versatile and flexible it is, and how powerful it is in handling different data structures. So we've covered basic to advanced uses of while loops. So you can see how they control the flow in programs. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Keep building.